This is how to logically explain the existence of God. In this bubble, it's the creation. We are included. Earth, universes, galaxies, and so on. Everything that we know or we don't know of, everything is included in here. Outside is another dot that does not belong in this group, and it's the creator. Basically, the creator of everything. As you can see, he does not belong to the creation. He is nothing like the creation. And it has to be more powerful because if galaxies are that big, the creator has to be so much more powerful than them. Yes, so this is my cat. You're going to see my cat from now on. Another thing is that we deal with is science. What is science? Science is a way of explaining how things work. Basically, how things are created. It gathers information through our senses, through our tools that are made from our intellect to find out more about the world, the creation. But because the creator is outside of the creation, we can't see him physically, all right? Because he's outside of the bubble. Yep. So that doesn't mean that he doesn't exist just because we can't see him, we can't touch him, we can't discover him through the science, through the tools that we have, because those tools are not the proper tools. However, we can come to a conclusion that God exists through our observations and looking around and using our brain, connecting the dots of how things are made and how things were created. Yes, like we know how certain things are created, but if we go back to the origin of the elements, like the smallest things that create those things, that's where science can't say it's God, because you have to be there. You have to, in order to scientifically claim something, you have to have data, physical data. And God is outside of our scope, so it's not the proper tool. So one cell makes two cells through mitosis, right? And then those two cells divide and make 4 other cells. And then those 4 other cells multiply and multiply and multiply and give us animals, humans, plants, whatever there is. However, though, since we know that that one cell is the beginner of all the creation, what is that cell made of? Let's see. As you can see from Google, cell is made from some other elements. This is also a group, as you can see. What we can say is that all cells are made of water, like mostly, all right? So let's just take that one ingredient amongst everything else. Water. Water is made of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. I searched up water and I guess this show came up. Yay, I found water. So, where did hydrogen and oxygen, which are atoms, come from? They come from other smaller particles, which are protons, neutrons, electrons, and even smaller and smaller particles that you can learn in physics and chemistry. But who created those smallest particles? We say it's God, because only God can create something that small and something that big as now that we have all those expanding galaxies and universes and all the creation that exists. It has to be God. Why? Because he has to be intelligent in order to create these things, and to come up with other things that come from these things. All right? A big problem that you hear people say is, we believe in science. What does that mean? Because I explained that science is a way of finding out about things, how things work. It's a way of explaining how things work, how things are created, up until those smallest particles. It can go more than that. So when you say we believe in science, that's why we don't believe in God, you're saying something that's not proper to say, because science is just a study and God is a creator. Science cannot say that God created everything because God is outside its field of study. Why is God outside the field of study of science? Because we can't see God. And in order to do science, you have to use the senses. But why can't we see God? It's because He's outside of the creation. Remember this that I showed you in the beginning? God is outside. God is there. The creation and our work, which is, let's say, science, is only limited till here. It can't go past that. So, in conclusion, science is not the adequate tool to use to see God. It cannot, because it's not programmed that way. The way we come to a conclusion that God exists is by using our brain, looking around and understanding how things work, and coming to the conclusion through the way that I explained in the past 7 minutes. Our job is to gather information, find out data, and then connect the dots using our brain. We use our senses to do science. We use our brain to gather the information, link things, connect the dots, and come to the conclusion. So finding out about God is after we do the science work. And if we cannot see God with science, that doesn't mean that God exists. Actually, it's a point that God exists, because if we could see God, then that wouldn't really be God, because He's just too powerful to see Him. We only can see what's inside the creation. So we can only see what's inside of this bubble. Well, over here. This is the science's field of study. It cannot go past that. And if we were to see someone that says, I'm God, then they're not God, because you can't see God. That's the condition. That's the criteria. God cannot be seen. We are limited. Even animals have better senses than us. All right? My cats can hear things I can't hear, can smell things I can't smell, can see things that I can't see. All right? So, yeah. It makes sense that we can't see God, and we should be at peace with this thing, because we are limited. Yes, we do not like this word, but it's true. Humans are limited. We always strive to do more, to perfect each study, but at the end of the day, we are limited, and we don't like that. Somebody doesn't really want to accept that, but it's true. And because we are limited, that means we cannot see God physically. We can only come to the conclusion. We don't know how God is, because He's nothing like the creation, because if He is, then He's limited, because everything in the creation is limited. Everything. So if God looks like the creation, that means he's also limited, which he's not. He is not. So this is the response for anyone who says, we believe in science, that's why God doesn't exist. You are wrong. You're not using the right program, the right channel to come to that conclusion. These are the galaxies in the universe. You can Google search that. They're pretty big. All right? There's so much things that we don't know of. That's over here. We know a lot of things, but we also don't know a lot of things. There's also things that we are going to know in the future. That's how science works. You always develop new ways, better ways of finding out about information. And science can give you one number today, but because better tools get developed tomorrow, that value is going to become more precise tomorrow, and it's going to change a bit. So even science, even facts in science change, become more precise with time. If we use our senses, we could say that the earth is flat, but then we develop new ways of finding out, and then we discover that the earth is actually not flat. Yeah, it looks like this if you don't know. So if you rely only in science, know that today you might be lacking. Tomorrow you might find out more about certain things, but today you could be lacking. So it's not something that we could truly 100% rely on, because even scientific facts change over time because we develop new tools. So can you really just use science and nothing else? That's like being only one-dimensional with the way you're thinking. You can't just use science. You also have to use the brain, as I told you earlier, to connect the dots and find out about the conclusions that you're looking for. So now that we concluded that God exists, if He created us, He needs to be responsible and give us a manual handbook in order to tell us how to live life properly, because we can mess up very easily, all right? Just like with any machine, you get a handbook that tells you what to do or what not to do, otherwise it will break. God also sends revelation through prophets, and there have been lots of prophets. So basically, the first human was also a prophet, and then came a lot of other prophets. And the last one was the prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon to him. And previously, there were a lot of other prophets, and they had many books. So, we had the Torah, the Bible, and then the Quran. So the previous books, such as Torah and the Bible, they were once true books, but corrupted people, bad people, people who get blinded by their desires and they give in to them, they become bad people. And then they want to change the message so that it fits to their likes and dislikes, all right? So if they want to do something but the book says no, they changed the meaning of the book in order to fit in with what they like. So God gave us one more book, which is the Quran, through the last prophet. So this is the last revelation, and it has remained unchanged, and it will remain unchanged till the end of time. And it's scientifically true that it hasn't ever been changed, because one Quran was discovered, that's the oldest Quran ever discovered, from the time of a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and they concluded that it is the same. All right, so scientifically, the Quran has not been changed if you thought otherwise. It's scientifically true. they did the research. It's the same from today and from that time, which is the closest time. It's like a companion of the prophet that made the whole compilation of the book. So amongst the typical monotheistic religions, so if you Google search them, you'll find out that it's Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Technically speaking, Christianity does not count as a pure monotheistic religion because of the whole Trinity thing. So technically speaking, Christianity isn't actually a monotheistic religion. As a matter of fact, the Christianity is basically turning a prophet into God, worshiping statues like these. So, do you remember how I told you that God is nothing like the creation? They basically made God human, which is a very limited being. So, humans have to eat, they have to go to the bathroom, they have to sleep, they have their own needs. So, if you make a human God, it's very, how can I say it? It's not proper because God is not limited. I told you before, it's outside of the creation. So God cannot be human. God cannot be any other creation. And what is the first commandment of Christianity? Let me see.
You shall not have other gods beside me.
So basically, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of your house of slavery. You shall not have other gods besides me. And what did they do? They basically made this: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Trinity goes against the first commandment, which is, you shall not have any other God besides me. So what is this? Plus, let me tell you something else. So at that time, it was actually a trend to believe in trinities, meaning in multiple gods. So here we have some. I have some pictures of them in this book. So we've got the Egyptian Trinity, the Buddhist Triad, the Ishtari Triad, the Triad of Ishtari, Sinit, and Shamashit. I don't know how to spell them correctly. The Indian triple goddess. As you can see, at that time, it was something, it was a trend basically. So they basically made a monotheistic religion. They changed it to what they were believing at that time, according to the trend. So, as Muslims, we believe in the Prophet Jesus, peace and blessings be upon to him, and we love him dearly, just like all the other prophets. We all love them. But we are very much offended by the fact that they made a prophet, a very, very dear prophet to us, and they changed completely his message. They backstabbed him, and then they turned him into God, which is such an insulting thing even to the prophet himself, because he did not give that message. He told people to worship the God alone. He made prostrations. Does any of the Christians nowadays prostrate like Jesus? No. Google search and watch these videos of the proof that Jesus was Muslim by many Muslim scholars. So over here in John 10:29, Jesus said that Father is greater than all. And then in over here, Matthew 26:39, Jesus fell on his face and prayed to God. That's basically what Muslims do. That's called a sejda. John 17:3, for example, Jesus said, "The Father is the only true God," as you can see. Mark 12:29, Jesus said that the most important commandment is the oneness of God. Not the Trinity, the oneness of God. John 6:38, Jesus says he only does the will of the one who sent him. The one who sent. God sent the messenger. All right? So anyways, as you can see, if following the teachings of Jesus makes you Christian, I guess Muslims are more Christian than the Christian themselves, because we do not change the Jesus' message. We honor him as a prophet, as a human. Okay, then about the Judaism, they believe that the last revelation was the Torah from Musa alayhi salam, and Musa is actually the prophet that was most mentioned in the Quran more than any other prophet. He's a very special prophet, and we love him dearly, and we do believe that the Torah was a revelation of God. However, though, it was changed. It was changed, just like the Bible after. So the Torah was before the Bible. The Bible was changed, the Torah was changed, and so God gave us a final revelation as he should, and gave us the last prophet as he should, and he promised that it will remain unchanged as it should be. So if you want to find out more information, then I guess read the Quran. Read about the religion of Islam from the source, not from strangers, honestly. So read from the source and then make your own opinions about it. Don't adapt other people's opinions. You have to make them your own because you have a brain. You're literate, right? You can't read. So use that to read and find out about the religion, and then you can choose based on you see it most right. Thank you. This was nice. Bye.